You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Most writers and radio show hosts know that to connect with your fans, you need to do more than just write books or record the latest podcasts. There are many different elements that go into forming an online platform, but there are also many hidden traps. To make matters worse, solid advice on how to survive the muddy waters is scarce. In the book Hidden Traps, I talk about some of the important issues of working with an online platform, highlighting traps that could put your physical or internet security at risk, or be harmful to your reputation. Are your social media posts just links with a few disjointed words, making you look like someone who can't complete a sentence? Did your new website cost you more than you anticipated? Are you leaking your personal contact details across the web without even knowing it? Then you need Hidden Traps. Hidden Traps is now available in paperback and ebook from a variety of retailers, including Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Kobo. Visit blackwolfpublications.com for more details.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
KLRN Radio has advertising rates available. We have rates to fit almost any budget. Contact us at advertising@klrnradio.com.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
To get your free inventor's information, call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
At St. Jude, a family never sees a bill at all. It's like the world has been lifted off of your shoulders.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Sometimes riders feel lost, unsure why a passage may not be working. It takes another set of eyes to help us nurture our writing into full maturity. At Black Wolf Editorial Services, we strive to enable writers to develop and grow, offering manuscript critiques and line edits through a mentoring editorial style. We also offer assistance on generating a writer's bio for your websites. Black Wolf Editorial Services, nurturing your writing into maturity. For a full list of services, visit blackwolfeditorial.com.
You're listening to the Spark Radio.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can. We're Americans.
This is Rio of Madison Rising, and you're listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Good to be with you on this Wednesday night. Before we get rolling, I just want to remind you to stay tuned, because coming up right behind me is Jesse's POV, followed by the Stafford Voice, and then America Off the Rails. You just got done listening to a best of FUBAR, and it is absolutely my pleasure to be here with you. We got a lot to cover tonight, a lot of material, only a couple of topics. So we're going to dive right in here, and we're going to get rolling right off the top. We're going to talk about Trump's Afghanistan speech and what it means, what it might mean, what it doesn't mean. You get the idea. So Trump had his speech Monday. You know, he supposedly, this was to, quote unquote, deliver a strategy or on Afghanistan. What it was is basically telling the country, I met with my generals and we have a plan. That's basically what he said. Of course, he stuck to his guns about not divulging details about his plan. He's not going to broadcast what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and when they're going to do it, which I don't have a problem with. I don't think we should tell our enemy when we're going to do things and how and why and all that good stuff. But here's where I want to go. Let's talk troop numbers. So he did not say directly that the number of U.S. troops in Afghanistan will grow, but Defense Secretary James Mattis basically did, saying that some allies have to, quote unquote, also pledge to send more troops. Basically stipulating that we're going to send more troops. Trump said that he's directed the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff to make preparations to carry out the strategy. Mattis said he'll be in consultation with the Secretary General of NATO and our allies, several of which have also committed to increasing their troop numbers. Again, also committed to increasing their troop numbers. Together, we will assist the Afghan security forces to destroy the terrorist hub, he added. Now, stick with me here, okay? As somebody that was part of Desert Shield, Desert Storm, I know firsthand that when we first went to the desert, we were not allowed to finish the job. We we did the broad spectrum, we achieved the broad spectrum goal of freeing Qatar. But we were not let to finish the job. And what has happened over the last 25 years or so in the Middle East, I don't want to say that it could have been prevented because there's no way to know that, but let's just say that things would have been different had we been allowed to finish the job the first time. Now, Afghanistan, for those of you that keep score at home, is actually the longest running steady battle that the United States, well, we can call it a war. Okay, we can call it a war. We can call it whatever you want, battle, war, police action, because there's been no quote-unquote official declaration of war as we know it historically. But this is the longest war the United States has ever been a part of. You know, we're going on 17 years in Afghanistan. And what do we have to show for it? What is it that the United States has been hoping to gain from being in Afghanistan that we haven't achieved already? We know we've lost over 2,000 fighting men and women over there. What I want to see from our president on an Afghan strategy is I want to see what A, accomplishes the job, B, in the fastest manner possible, so that we can return our fighting men and women home. That's what I want to see. As a veteran, we understand that when you take that oath of enlistment, that you sign your name to that check, you're basically signing everything from painting curbs, picking up cigarette butts stateside during peacetime as an additional duty to make your base beautiful, to putting your life on the line, you know, throwing yourself on top of an IED to keep it from killing your whole squad. That's the range of what you sign up for. And anything that falls in the middle of that is just gravy. Those are the two extremes. You could have a pretty much boring, dull, nothing day of doing what we call weeds and seeds, or painting curbs, or raking mulch on the running track on the base. You know, some kind of trivial, just ancillary detail that they assign you every so often to, you know, kind of keep you honest, to putting your life on the line on a daily basis. That's what it's about. Now, knowing that, we have the greatest all-volunteer military in the world. We have the greatest military in the world. It just happens to be all voluntary. Were there some unhappy faces when Trump made this announcement that we were going to stick with Afghanistan? Yeah, there were. And I understand why. Because they've been handcuffed for so long, not allowed to win. So, Mr. President, please take this opportunity to make sure that our fighting men and women know that with this strategy, that the handcuffs are coming off, and that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, something they can fight towards to finish this job. You have to give military men and women a goal. You can't just stick them in quicksand up to their chest and tell them they can never get out, but they have to keep fighting. You want to see a motivated military president, Mr. President? Give them a goal. Tell them this is what you have to achieve in order for us to pull out of Afghanistan. I promise you the motivation will be incredible. How counterproductive is it for the United States to announce in advance the dates we intend to begin or end military operations? It's ridiculous. Okay? And this is what Trump went on to talk about. Not going to talk about numbers of troops, plans, or further military activities. He did also say that NATO allies and partners would be asked to increase troop numbers and funding in line with our own, again, hinting that we were going to make a push in Afghanistan. Right now, we have about 8,400 troops over there, most forming part of a NATO-led resolute support mission to train, advise, and assist Afghan forces. U.S. personnel are also conducting counterterrorism operations against the Taliban and other groups. Almost 40 other countries are involved with the mission, with Italy, Germany, Georgia, Romania, Turkey, and Britain accounting for the larger troop contingents. NATO figures earlier this year put the total troop numbers, including those of the U.S., at around 13,460. So again, you see we are shouldering the greater load here. Unnamed U.S. officials were cited in a wire service report as saying that about 4,000 additional U.S. troops will be deployed. 4,000 is a big number. We're going to increase to right around 12,400, 12,500 troops in Afghanistan. And Afghan officials are saying they need more troops. And they also said they want those troops either on or very near to the front line. Now, if we go back in time to a previous speech of the president's, we don't have to go back too terribly far, obviously, but he made the comments that we would help, we would support, and we would fight with our friends and allies, but that we would not smite their enemies for them. He said we're not nation building. I like that. We can't nation build over there. It's up to the people that live there. You want to talk about nation building? Look at what's going on in Libya. Look at what's going on, even though fairly much more stable now. Look what happened in Egypt with Mubarak and all that mess. Sisi seems to have settled things down. He is not the person that then President Obama wanted in charge of Egypt. But anyway, after Trump's speech came a lengthy interagency review, which Mattis described as rigorous. The defense secretary shared some of his own views on the subject during a congressional appearance last June, when he said the Taliban had been emboldened as a result of decisions made by President Obama, including declaring combat operations over in late 2014 and limiting air support for the U.S.-backed Afghan forces. Mattis said, at one point when we reduced our forces there, I believe in what was probably in hindsight a misguided application of our forces. We restricted them from using our air support with some idea we would wean them off the need for it, Mattis told Senate Appropriations Committee on Defense. That meant in the mountain country, these troops were often fighting at a disadvantage. Mattis told the panel the need to preserve U.S. security at a time when the region is beset by Sunni terrorism and Iranian violence requires us to sustain the international presence in Afghanistan and help stabilize the South Asia region and deny terrorists a safe haven. And look, General Mattis is a brilliant, brilliant man, and I get exactly what he's saying. If we do nothing, then Afghanistan will be the base that the terrorists set up in and conduct their attacks from and conduct their training and everything. They will become a terrorist haven. The people that don't want this are ill prepared to drive it out of their country. The politicians are corrupt. Not all of them, but a lot of them are corrupt, and they quietly aid the terrorists while lip serving the people. Now, to say that this speech didn't get any kind of reaction would be a little misleading, because Tuesday morning, United States Tuesday morning, it was already Tuesday morning in Afghanistan, but Tuesday morning here, the Taliban decried Trump's decision not to withdraw U.S. troops and warned that the country would become, quote, a graveyard for the American empire. Taliban spokesman Zabullah Mujahid said that it seems America is not yet ready to end the longest war in its history. Instead of trying to understand ground realities, they still arrogantly believe in their force and might. Now, laying out the plan for Afghanistan, Trump said he shared the American people's frustration about a war without victory. And he called for an honorable and enduring outcome worthy of the tremendous sacrifices that have been made, especially the sacrifices of lives. A hasty withdrawal would create a vacuum that terrorists, including ISIS and Al-Qaeda and the Taliban, would instantly fill, just as happened before September 11, 2001, he said. Trump said he would not telegraph timetables, troops, and numbers. Yeah, we covered that. America's enemies must never know our plans or believe they can wait us out, he said. I will not say when we're going to attack, but attack we will. Mujahid noted that Trump said Americans were weary of the long-running war. That tells you, folks, they're listening to what he has to say. The Afghan holy warrior nation is neither tired nor will it ever get tired in pursuit of winning their freedom and establishing an Islamic system, Mujahid said. And this is the problem. This is the problem, folks. They're willing to fight to the last person. Are we willing to fight to the last person for somebody else? If America does not withdraw its forces from Afghanistan, the day will not be far when Afghanistan shall transform into a graveyard for the American empire, and the American leaders can understand this concept. The Taliban spokesman said that as long as a single American soldier remains in Afghanistan and U.S. leaders continue the war, we shall also sustain our jihad against them with lofty spirits, absolute determination, and additional firmness. He concluded his statement by repeating the claim that no one has been harmed from our soil. In his speech, Trump recalled that 9/11, the worst terrorist attack in our history, was planned and directed from Afghanistan because that country was ruled by a government that gave comfort and shelter to terrorists. The Taliban, a fundamentalist militia, a terrorist organization, seized control of most of Afghanistan by the mid-90s and allowed its al-Qaeda allies to shelter there. Osama bin Laden and his band plotted the 9/11 attack on America from Afghan soil, and the U.S. invaded the country after the Taliban refused to surrender them. As Trump and his national security team were wrapping up the Afghan policy review, the Taliban, in an open letter last week, urged Trump not to follow the advice of warmongering congressmen and generals, but to withdraw from Afghanistan. American youth are not born to be killed in the deserts and the mountains of Afghanistan in order to establish the writ of thieves and corrupt officials, it said, served and sacrificed. Other early Afghan reaction to Trump's speech came late Monday from Kabul's ambassador to Washington, Hamdullah Mohib, who described it as, quote, the first time a focus has been put on what Afghanistan must have to succeed. Mohib highlighted several elements of the speech, including, point one, a shift away from talking about troop numbers and timetables and towards allowing conditions on the ground to determine military strategy. Point two, expanded authority for the Secretary of Defense and military commanders to act swiftly against terrorists instead of micromanagement from Washington. And finally, point three, a breaking of the silence over Pakistan's sheltering of terrorists. Like America, Afghanistan wants an honorable and enduring outcome to this fight, Mohib said. For all the Afghan, U.S., and NATO soldiers who have served and sacrificed to advance the cause of peace. Between October 2001 and the end of December 2014, 2,350 U.S. military personnel were killed in Afghanistan or in other locations where they were serving in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. That's according to the Pentagon. Doesn't even have the 2015, 2016, and 2017 numbers in it. Over the period since then, another 44 soldiers, airmen, and sailors have been killed during Operation Freedom's Sentinel, 31 of them in hostile circumstances. Freedom's Sentinel compromises counterterrorism operations and from the U.S. contributions to the NATO-led mission to train, advise, and assist Afghan forces. 455 British soldiers have died in Afghanistan since 2002, along with another 681 from other troop-contributing countries. You can check that data out for yourself on icasualties.org. It's sobering, folks. And that's why my earlier comments were made about getting the job done and getting our people home. Now, according to estimates compiled by the Brookings Institute, more than 31,000 Afghan National Army and Afghan National Police personnel were killed between 2007 and late 2016. In Trump's speech, sharp criticism of Pakistan contrasted with an invitation to its arch-rival India, the world's largest democracy and a key security and economic partner of the United States, to contribute more than it already is in Afghanistan, especially in the economic sphere. There was no early official response from Islamabad or New Delhi, but the remarks received blanket, in some cases gleeful coverage in the Indian media. So now you know what was going on with all that. We're at the bottom of the hour. We're going to take a quick commercial break, And when we come back, we are going to be storming quickly through Statue Palooza. Do yourself a favor. Stay tuned.
Oh, but ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
If you're 85 or younger, would you like peace of mind and comfort for your family? We're Final Expense Direct with an urgent message for you. The average funeral today costs over $8,000, but the most you'll get from government benefits is $255. How will your family pay the difference? We can help. Our senior plans start as low as just $1 a day and pay up to $30,000 for a funeral and other final expenses. Peace of mind is easy. There's no medical exam. You'll have lifetime coverage, and your plan can't be canceled as long as you pay your premiums. Call now for free information about our senior plans. Answer a few simple questions and receive approval right on the phone. Plus, call right now and we'll give you a discount prescription card for free. Call 800-553-8687. That's 800-553-8687. Again, 800-553-8687.
Here's George Foreman with InventHelp.
Hi, I'm George Foreman. Do you have an idea for a new product or invention? People ask me all the time, George, how do I get my idea in front of companies? How do I get a patent? What do I do next? Do you have the same questions? I'll tell you like I'll tell them all. Call my friends at InventHelp.
Call InventHelp today for free information. InventHelp has been helping inventors for more than 30 years and has sales offices nationwide. InventHelp can submit your invention to companies who are interested in receiving new ideas. If you have an idea and want to try to patent it and submit it to companies, you should call InventHelp today for free information.
Listen, I can't guarantee a company will be interested in your idea, but I believe every inventor deserves the opportunity to step into the ring and take their best shot. Put InventHelp in your corner.
Get your free inventor's information. Call 1-800-353-6490. That's 1-800-353-6490. Again, 1-800-353-6490.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.
America, you and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby, ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
All right, we're back. Thank you for being here. Quick programming reminder, Jesse's POV coming up next, followed by the Stafford Voice, followed by America Off the Rails with Rowdy Rick Robinson. As promised, we're going to talk about statues. So I need to put a picture in your head, though. So bear with me for a second here. This is a Monday morning, pre-dawn. Early morning hours, 4, 3, something like that. Masked men in black bulletproof vests gathered at the Battle of Liberty Place in downtown New Orleans. They arrived in flatbed trucks, the name of the company on the truck's sides concealed by tape and cardboard. Snipers actually took up positions on nearby rooftops. Folks, this isn't a movie. This is what really happened in New Orleans when they went to take down the Confederate statues. These workers were under contract with the city. They were there to tear down a 126-year-old monument linked to the Confederacy. New Orleans is just one of the many cities now that have been caught up in this mess. By dawn on that Monday, the first of 4 monuments to be removed, a white marble obelisk on Canal Street, for those of you that know it, was gone. And the city went about the removal amid an air of official secrecy and heightened security measures in response to threats against the city's contractor that, is wrong. Okay? You don't threaten people that are working. You don't threaten people that are out there trying to you don't threaten anybody. End of story. That's not the way to do it. Okay? New Orleans Democrat Mayor Mitch Landrieu issued a statement at 3:15 a.m. that Monday, while crews were still at work, saying the removal sends a clear and unequivocal message about the city's focus on celebrating our diversity, inclusion, and tolerance. But no diversity, inclusion, or tolerance for anybody that has reverence for their heritage, if they're Southern and proud of it. Because nothing says inclusion and tolerance like tearing up century-old monuments and carting them off in the dead of night. Now, to push to remove Confederate statues and monuments has gained traction in the wake of the racially motivated Charleston shooting back in 2015. Okay, we all know that this was Dylan Roof, and we all know what Dylan Roof did was wrong. There's not any room for question. If Dylan Roof had walked into that church and done the same thing with a skinhead haircut, wearing combat boots and a wife-beater t-shirt and blue jeans, would this whole thing have even started? I mean, here we are. We're talking about people getting upset about things that have been around for 125, 150, 160 years. And it's not, look, you want to remove a Confederate flag from flying over the Capitol building in the state? I get that. I do. And trust me, I do. I am a believer that no state should be flying any flags over their Capitol building other than the United States flag and their state flag. Can you have other flags flying on state grounds? Yeah, I think there are a couple of exceptions that could be made. Maybe the POW MIA flag. I would definitely go for that. It's non-discriminatory. It covers every veteran that's either, POW or MIA. How can anybody suggest anything other about that? Look, I'm not a fan of statue teardowns. I have lived in the South my whole life. I was raised by my mother's family and my mother, who are all from New York. Queens, New York. So I get the part where, they didn't understand all of the Civil War stuff. My grandparents didn't come to this country until well after that had ended. They were little kids when they got here. So their understanding of it was probably limited, but I've lived all over the South my entire life. And my wife loves to joke with me that I'm anything but Southern, even though I've never lived anywhere else, but with the scant exception of the first 4 months of my life when I was born in California. So, I have been around these Confederate monuments in many different states at many different times over the last 5 decades. That hurts to say that. 5 decades. Wow. Anyway, I've always been curious about them. I always go up to the monuments and I read the plaques that have the information about what it is and what it's there to commemorate. I had friends in states growing up that were as redneck as you could possibly imagine. And I mean wearing their cowboy hat and their big buckled belt and their boots and jeans to school every day. These are the guys that went home and when, they didn't play sports because they went home and they helped their father's ranch. They were riding wild horses. They were trying to break bulls. They were riding bulls. This is what they did with their free time. These guys were what the world considers rednecks. I was always something different. I was always the little mixed kid, or the little half breed, or the little wetback wannabe, or you can't believe how many times I've heard different slanderous terms. But you know what? After about, puberty, that stuff didn't bother me anymore. Because what I came to realize is that the morals and principles that I was raised with by my family won me over to everybody. They realized that I was not a freeloader. They realized I understood what hard work was. When I was 12, I cut grass for more than just people in the neighborhood. I would tie my lawnmower to my bicycle and pull it around behind me with the weed eater and a gas can strapped across the handlebars and go door to door looking for work. Sometimes I'd go as far away as 5 or 6 miles from the house to a client on my bicycle. Not a big deal. I was 12. I had energy to spare. I had good 14 clients. I figured that was about as much as I could do, 2 a day, especially during, summertime. Man, it got hot. Got hot in Central Florida. But these people I was cutting grass for, these people I was friends with, these people I am friends with, they're good people. They don't look at these statues as a rallying point to bring back the Confederacy. Was the Confederacy wrong? I don't even want to go into an argument of right and wrong. The Confederacy was fighting for what they believed were states' rights. I don't like the way they did it. I don't like that they seceded. I don't like that they actually declared war against the United States. I don't like it. The simple truth is, though, is that's what happened. And it's important to remember this history, folks. It is important to remember Confederate history because in ancient Rome, this type of behavior is called damnatio memoriae, the condemnation of memory. And its purpose was overtly political. The point was to dishonor traitors and deposed emperors by purging them from public memory. Rome would seize their property, remove their name from public monuments, and destroy or rework their statues. Today, that practice has been revived, albeit under the pretext of inclusion and tolerance. The University of Texas at Austin removed a statue of Jefferson Davis from the school's historic mall in 2015. It now resides at UT's Briscoe Center for American History. That's fine, I get it. You want to move it to a museum. Okay. Last fall, Texas State University in San Marcos quietly removed a statue of Jefferson Davis and sent it 7 miles south of town to a private land donated to the United Daughters of the Confederacy. Similar efforts by other cities have cropped up in Virginia, Kentucky, South Carolina, and elsewhere, yada, yada, yada. Not all of them have been successful. In August of 2015, the Memphis City Council voted to remove a statue of Nathan Bedford Forrest, along with the remains of Forrest and his wife, from a park near downtown Memphis. But the Tennessee Historical Commission stepped in, citing a state law passed in 2013 that prevents cities and counties from relocating, removing, or renaming war memorials on public property. Folks, this is what our Attorney General spoke of when pressed on the statue issue. He believes that it should be the right of the states, and or if the state chooses not to, the county, and if the county chooses not to, the city. It's a local level event, okay? But here's my point, though. Why do you want to purge history of everything unpleasant? When does it stop? When does it stop? When does somebody say, enough is enough, if we purge anymore, there'll be no history? Who's to say, for some reason, I don't know, let's just make one up, that Martin Luther King Jr. offends somebody? Should we take down all the Martin Luther King monuments? Should we rename all the streets? Should the monument in D.C. be destroyed, like they're talking about with Mount Rushmore and the Lincoln Memorial and the Jefferson Memorial? How long before they want to topple the Washington Memorial onto the mall? It's a never-ending saga, folks. And if these things are really, really that offensive, why is it taking this long? Plenty of Americans would like to see nothing more than these monuments go. They ask, why shouldn't we get rid of these monuments? After all, the Confederacy was a rebellion of, quote, slave states that cost the lives of some 620,000 Americans and left the country shattered. The question was asked, if it's right to remove the Confederate flag from the State House in South Carolina, why not the statues and obelisks? There's a good reason to leave the monuments where they stand, but let's be clear, the reason for keeping them has nothing to do with honoring the cause or the Confederacy or the memory of slavery. Even though many of them were erected for that purpose in the decades spanning the 1870s to the 1930s. That should not be our purpose for keeping them now. The case for keeping these Confederate monuments has everything to do with preserving our history, period. To better understand it, the history of the Civil War and the Confederacy is complicated and even to this day painful for some Americans. Very few, but some. But a standing monument isn't the same as a flag flying in place of honor. Monuments become part of our landscape down through the decades, and their physical presence testifies to the past in a way that museums cannot. What I propose is that we add to these monument sites. We don't take away, we add to them to add a full perspective of what we're looking at in history. Am I suggesting that we have statues of white men whipping black men while on their hands and knees? No, I'm not. But there are ways to add to these monuments to increase perspective of what happened and why it happened and why we shouldn't forget it. Something as central to American history as the war between North and South should impose on us and demand our attention. Not so we can honor the principles of the Confederacy, but so we can understand and remember who we were and all we suffered to survive and remain one nation. Progressives claim a special prerogative to purge our public spaces of disfavored symbols and monuments, whether it's Confederacy or other historical figures whose views are now offensive by contemporary standards. It's not enough, they say, to add plaques that give greater historical context or add Unionist monuments alongside Confederate ones. That should tell you something. The drive to erase the Confederacy from our public squares isn't really about unity or tolerance. It's about power and politics. It's about censoring historical symbols. And censoring historical symbols is, after all, the cousin of censoring speech and inquiry. Hence the spectacle of Mayor Landrieu explaining how the Confederacy was on the wrong side of history, even as he rips up historical monuments in the name of progress. At a time like this, when the divisions in our country are deepening and Americans are sorting themselves into increasingly hostile factions, we could do a whole lot worse than to gaze on the Confederate statues, contemplate their reasons for fighting, and considering what it took to put this country back together to give us some current perspective on what's important. Forget about the past. Use it to bring us together now. Now, there's a list. There's a nice list. Let me get to it here in my notes because I want to roll through this. We're getting short on time. Of statues that the left want removed. Number one on the list is any Confederate statues in the U.S. Capitol. Number two, Mount Rushmore. Number three, Stone Mountain in Georgia. They want it gone. Number four, the Jefferson Memorial. Al Sharpton himself talked about it on MSNBC. Number five, the Albert Pike statue in Washington, D.C. It's already been marched on and protested against, and it was covered in the Washington Post. 6, Confederate statues throughout the state of Virginia. Democratic Governor Terry McAuliffe issued a statement wanting it done. 7, Confederate soldiers' monuments. 8, Civil War officer John B. Castleman. They want his statue gone from Louisville, Kentucky. Number 9, they want Confederate soldiers and sailors monuments in Birmingham, Alabama, gone. And number 10, Robert E. Lee and Stonewall Jackson, Governor Andrew Cuomo announcing that he was removing the statues at City University of New York because New York stands against racism. Well, Governor Cuomo, answer me this. If this was such a hot button item to jump all over, how come you didn't do it on day one when you came into office? How come you didn't do it in month one, in year one? Why now? Appeasement, folks. Appeasement. I promise you this. You can remove every single statue that the left wants gone right now. You can take down every Confederate monument. You can take down every unknown soldier monument. You can take down Jefferson. You can take down Lincoln. You can take down Washington. And when it's all said and done, it won't be enough. It never is. It's time to bring these progressives to the table and make them say what it is they really want. But nobody's either A, smart enough, or B, got the stones to do it. Kids grow up in the North and they're taught that the Civil War was all about slavery. Read a real history book. Learn what a small part of the war slavery really was. Folks, you don't have to agree with me. I'm just here to make you think. You may not agree with my perspective, but you like some of my ideas. That's okay too. It's all good. Again, this is where we get our knowledge on. We're rounding out at the top of the hour. It's time for me to sign off. Love me, hate me. It's all good. Keep tuning in because I'm glad you're here. And I know we all learned something. And I actually had somebody that I respect very much tell me this week that they come away from my show and they always learn something that they didn't know before that. That's the most gratifying thing I've ever heard since I started this show. So, my friend, if you're listening, thank you for your kind words. They mean a lot. That's it for tonight, folks. Be back next Wednesday. If you like the show, tell your friends. If your friends like the show, you need some new friends, but they and you are welcome with me every week right here on KLRN Radio. Peace. God bless.
You and me, ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
Everyone loves liberty. Our rights come from God, not the government. So why are you letting other people tell you what's best for your health care? Exercise your freedom with Liberty Health Share. Liberty Health Share is a community of people who voluntarily share one another's medical costs. Liberty Health Share is founded on the idea that most people truly want to help one another. Healthcare sharing allows members to do just that as a true community that supports one another in times of need. Liberty believes people should make decisions for themselves and their families. Members are able to take back the freedom to make their own decisions about their health care. Freedom from guilt or doubt about how your money is used. You have the freedom to direct your health care, not to be dictated to by bureaucrats. Stop letting others tell you what to do and join a community of like-minded people. Exercise your freedom. Join Liberty Health Share and take back the control of your health care while helping those around you. Call Liberty at 855-58-LIBERTY. Again, that's 855-58-LIBERTY for more information, or you can check them out at libertyhealthshare.org. Again, that's libertyhealthshare.org.